On a whole, great experience, and I got everything that I kind of would want to get from it. I gained from it. To get into the specifics a little bit more, let's go for calories first. Now, I messed up a couple of times. A couple of times I forgot to wear my watch. I use a Garmin watch. Brilliant watch. I love it for tracking kind of my fitness. And I use it in connection with the Garmin strap too. A couple of times I forgot the watch, and a few other times I forgot to wear the strap. Now, that was quite telling because the calorie swing and the information that I got from wearing it was exclusively the watch was different from the information I got from where I wore a watch and a heart strap combo. When I wore the heart rate strap, it registered that I burnt more calories and that I worked harder. It registered higher heart rates. When I wore my watch, it didn't get quite as high. And again, I would have expected that because I know that wrist pulse technology isn't quite as good as the band technology, particularly when you're doing weights and you're kind of moving the wrists. And I do a little bit of that when I was doing the intervals on the bike, because I would do jump intervals too. So I'm moving up and down and my wrist is moving a little bit, and then I'm always running my hands through my bloody hair and stuff like that. So I'm definitely kind of messing with my wrist. Now, as far as the calories I burnt, low point, the least amount I burnt was 421. That was early part of the challenge, and also when I was just using my wrist, my watch. High point, 753. That was my high point. And that was when I was wearing my heart rate strap, and it was later on in the month. In fact, it was only a few days ago. And my intervals had become more intense. I was working at high heart rates. I was fitter, so I was training harder. So there's a few things in the mix there, but that's quite a big swing. 421 to 753, quite a big swing in there. Now, what does that equate to? I recorded that I had burnt over 15,000 calories this month. That works out at about over £4 of fat I would have lost this month. It's approximately 3,500 calories for every pound of fat. Now, if I was doing this for aesthetic reasons, if I was doing this to reduce my body fat, and I coupled this exercise with a good nutritional plan and I was in a calorie deficit, then I would have expected to lose 6, 7, 8 pounds plus easy from doing the exercise. So that's a kind of a big tick for those people who have those goals in mind. Other things though that came forward, some good, some maybe not so good. Now, I exclusively did the bike. I was still practicing yoga every day, or kind of movement. I'm not practicing kind of strict yoga at the moment, but kind of movement practices, conscious movement. And I only did 2 dedicated weight sessions, which were based around the thighs and squat jumps and kind of plyometrics and power stuff. I measured my circumference of all my muscle groups that I normally would at the start of the month, and I didn't measure them again till yesterday. Now, I've lost muscle tissue on my arms. I've lost muscle tissue on my chest and back, so that's probably not quite so great, but not overly fussed. I lost over an inch around my navel. Bonus. Boom. So I lost an inch over on my navel, and I also measured my thighs and my hips. My bum got bigger and my thighs grew considerably. My right thigh was 3.5 centimetres. It grew, and my left thigh just under 3 centimetres. That's quite a big shift in 30 days, and especially when you're not doing weights, and especially when you're not following a dedicated nutritional plan to kind of sink in with it. Now, that might kind of put people off going, God, I don't want bigger thighs. But again, that will be dependent on the food that I'm eating, and also that I've kind of shifted away from what I was doing last month, which didn't really involve much muscle work or muscle tissue at all. So it's not necessarily would be the same for you if you were to do the 30-day cycle that your leg tissue would grow up, but it's maybe something to consider. On a whole, my body weight's gone down. I would expect my body fat to have gone down. It feels like it's gone down. And I've definitely improved my fitness. I've definitely improved my aerobic and anaerobic fitness. And I felt, like I say, more energized. On the whole, it's been a really good experience for me. Near the end of the month, it was getting more and more challenging. We're kind of fast approaching Christmas now. I keep looking over there because our Christmas tree's up. I'm fast approaching Christmas now, and the boys are waking up earlier. Obviously, the boys are getting up and thinking it's Christmas Day like every single day, so that they're coming and asking us if it's Christmas Day. That's pretty tough when you're cycling, because you know your kids want to play with you when they wake up, and you want to play with your kids, and you're trying to do the bike, and you want to do this challenge. So that was a little bit tough. But before the kids started waking up early, which was like, I got a good 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks in, where it was just me. They were the best parts for me. I wanted to challenge myself physically, but I also wanted to see what it was like to do a different exercise, make it mindful, and really, really push myself physically and see whether my mind could do that. So I'm doing the cycle without any music. I'm not listening to anything. I haven't got a podcast on. I haven't got any music in my earphones. I'm coming in and I'm sitting in silence and I'm doing intervals and I'm working at my highest intensity. And it was good. I like listening to the voices in my head. I like kind of understanding where my triggers are. I like noting the points at where you go, oh, you want to give up, don't you? You want to stop. You think you're going to give up now. There's no one watching. There's no one here. No one knows that you're going to have a sneaky extra 10 seconds rest there. So I like all those things. And then it kind of makes me understand myself a little bit more. And in noticing that, they were the things that made me go, come on, sunshine. Come on. Go again. Go again. Go again. And because I did that, like I said earlier, my sense of achievement was much higher during this month than it was during any month of a challenge that I've had so far. Every single time I came off the bike, I felt like I achieved something. I felt really good. And that definitely impacted on my mood and then the way I was with the kids and Louise. I'm always quite giddy and stuff in the morning, but I just felt more energised and even giddier than I normally do. Now, other aspects that weren't so great, by about day 4, my back was in bits, my lower back was in bits, my hips were absolutely, killing, as in, like, not tight, but they were actually sore, like my hips were sore. But that's all right, that was just me not doing enough aftercare, not doing enough mobility and flexibility before and after the cycle. But it's definitely something to be aware of, that obviously you're really working the hip flexors, you're really working all those frontal movements. So you come off a little bit stooped, and it'd be really important to get your hips back open and get yourself back in some back bends. So that would be something to look at going forwards. Apologies that sometimes I've dropped down to the underwear. You'll notice that I gradually wore less and less clothes. So I started thinking a hoodie the first day, I had a hat on, fully clothed up, and then I quickly realised that our heating kicks in at 6 a.m. So it was like doing spinning in a yoga studio, because we have our house at like 40 degrees. I love the heat, and it's winter now, it's freezing. So we had the heat cranked up. So I think my last few sessions I was in my underwear. So apologies for that. Anyway, see you next time.